It's time for a quick shout out to some of our friends. The Old School Mini Bikes and Parts Facebook group. The Strictly Vintage Mini Bikes and Go-Karts Facebook group. The All About Mini Bikes Facebook page. Genuine New Old Stock Vintage Parts. The Vintage Snowmobile Podcast. And the Muscle Car Show and Tell Podcast. Ben Thomas is your independent AMSOIL dealer. Click the link in the description for your free AMSOIL catalog, or scan the QR code to earn the deepest discount by becoming a preferred customer. To advertise with Ben's Vintage Mini Bike Podcast, the Vintage Snowmobile Podcast, or the Muscle Car Show and Tell Podcast, please reach out to Ben or Mike for more information. Details in the description of this video.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Vintage Mini Bike Lovers Podcast. I'm Ben Thomas, your host. I appreciate you being here. So tonight we're going to just recap on some video footage that I've had taken over the last year and a half or so. I do hope to get to more of my own projects and start highlighting some of the projects on a more regular basis here on the podcast. But what I'd like to do right now is just cue up some video, and I hope you enjoy it. So what you saw there was some footage from the Turin Vintage Snowmobile Show. My son Eric runs the YouTube channel Benadim, and Eric happened to be at the show and saw those Rups. Those Rups belong to the LaGrange family, and they have quite a Rup collection of snowmobiles, and they have these obviously nice mini bikes. So I thank Eric for that footage. The next video we're going to see is actually the trail tractor from Ken Crozier, and Ken has a pretty nice vintage Polaris collection. And a quick shout out to Lee Miller. Lee, I know in October you have the beautiful show down at the Living History Museum in Cortland, New York, and you've been trying to get a mini bike class started, and I'm shamefully embarrassed that I have not been able to really work with you, but no promises, Lee, but I'm hoping that 2026 brings a nice collaboration with us. So without further ado, here's Ken Crozier's Polaris Trail Tractor. So that's a pretty neat piece. It reminds me a lot of the Tote Goats, obviously. And honestly, I'm not really sure which one came first. I have some belief it might have been the Trail Tractor, but if somebody knows that for sure, I do appreciate Kenya sharing that footage with me. And maybe at one of these vintage shows, you'll bring your Polaris Trail Tractor and we can get some additional footage of that, because I, again, think that's a really cool piece. So quick shout out too. I want to give some other shout outs. I really thank Michael Lapierre, who does some production work and he co-hosts from time to time. And Mike is the owner and host of the Vintage Snowmobile Lovers podcast. And so Mike actually gave me my start on the hosting software here at StreamYard that I use. And he's been really gracious about his time and whatnot. He also runs the Muscle Car podcast. The Muscle Car podcast broadcasts on all these same channels. You'll see my show. Same thing with Vintage Snowmobile Lovers. The Muscle Car podcast, basically Mike does live shows from May through October. And then he picks up on the snowmobile show, generally, again, October through May. And there's been a lot of crossover, and I really appreciate all the help and support that Mike has given me on his 2 different podcasts. So again, check those out if you're into those muscle cars and the old cars. I'd also like to give a shout out to Joe Abadi at the Vintage Motocross Q&A podcast. Joe's been a good friend. He's helped me quite a bit. And a lot of people that watch this show are viewers of Joe's, and I've had that crossover. So I do want to thank you for that, Joe. It is greatly appreciated, all that support. So next, I'd like to run a little footage of one of my bikes, and I had a chance to meet Bob at Lowrider Chassis. When we first started chatting, he had his Facebook name as Lowrider Chassis, and I said, well, what do I refer to you as? And I decided I was going to call him Mr. Chassis. But he's become a good friend. He's a good friend of many in the vintage mini bike crowd. Obviously, he's got a lot of knowledge, a lot of experience, and he's got some really good parts too. So if you're looking for something, maybe reach out to Lowrider Chassis. He might be able to help you out. So without further ado, here's a little video about my Whisker. Here we have the Arctic Cat Whisker. Was able to find this at a lawn sale. A true barn find. The gentleman said he'd had it over 20 years. It used to run. Someone removed the recoil. I was lucky enough to find one from my friend Dwayne. Appreciate that a lot, Dwayne. The bike is generally complete, although it needs a lot of restoration. The Saxonet automatic here, 2-stroke, very excited about that. Generally not in horrible condition as they go. You did notice it looks like the handlebars are a little tweaked. Definitely somebody went to town with some spray paint. It's going to need re-chroming.
exhaust relatively complete. I did notice the exhaust tip is missing. Seat appears to be in good shape. Has some original Universal tread tires on it. The Manco alloy wheels. Again, I'm going to need some rechroming. Gas tank not too bad, couple of dings. Should come out. Not really sure what to do with the Bing carburetor. I'm sure it's serviceable. Never been into one of those. Appears to have the original brake lever on it. Throttle needs some attention. One nice thing, it was free, meaning it rolls over. Seems to have good compression. The Arctic Cat whisker.
Yeah, so that's a pretty nice little bike, and I want to give a shout out again to Bob. He paid me a visit and picked up some parts that was going to somebody else, and he brought me a very nice exhaust for that Saxonet. I've got to do a little work on that, but I know people are always like, well, how much is this worth? How much is that worth? So maybe you guys can give me an idea when you watch this. Tell me what you think that whisker's worth, and I'm going to queue up my Climber, and we'll do the same thing. The Climber doesn't have the original engine, doesn't have the original bars, missing a lot of parts. But since I had taken these two videos, I have sourced a lot of parts, and now the only thing I'm lacking is some time. And I'm hoping to find some of that at some point, but I continue to gather parts. And as I've said to some people, I push all my projects along. I think I've got like 12 to 15 active projects, and one of these days, all of a sudden, they're going to all be finished. So without further ado, here's my Climber. Here we have the Arctic Cat Climber. This roller was one that I'd seen on Marketplace, thanks to my friend Eric. Appreciate you tipping me off, Eric. A little fancy work on the fenders. Definitely a lot to work with here. The seat is very nice, has only one minor little spot where it needs repair.
Has the C-Box shocks on it. Definitely restorable. Looks like somebody replaced the gears. Not sure what should have been there originally for the jack shaft. Someone made the foot pegs. Missing the gas tank. These appear to be bicycle handlebars. Not a big deal. Has the bracket for the headlight. Hoping I can get the original decal to clean up a little bit. Going to need some re-chroming. The tires on this are very nice. Tread like new. No cracks. Rear sprocket looks to be decent. Rear tire also very good shape. Arctic Cat Climber.
So that bike has come a little ways since then. I actually have an HS40 that has the lighting coil I'll probably restore for that bike. And I did manage to get some other parts from Doug Rawl. Doug is the administrator of the Arctic Cat mini bikes page on Facebook. And if you like those Arctic Cat bikes, make sure you check out that page as well. There's so many good pages on the internet. And I'm usually found on many of them. But like I said earlier, I'm really trying to promote my page a little bit and build that community. So if you would be so inclined, please make sure that you are following the Vintage Mini Bike Lovers page on Facebook and also on YouTube. For me to be able to broadcast live to YouTube, I have to get my subscriber count up. And I've been working on that a little bit. I have to spend a little more time on developing some content. Again, that missing commodity some time. So if you're like me, you don't always have a lot of time to devote to these things. And so I'm going to have to figure out this little glitch I'm having here. I can't seem to get the interface to cooperate. Oh, I know what I did. There we go. That's why we need some producing. And I do apologize for some of the technical difficulties. It's a little hard. I almost need that third or fourth hand to try to run some of these buttons. But the next video I'm going to play is my little preview to my Rupp Enduro, my 70 Rupp Enduro. And I'd like to give a shout out to Ryan Locke. He's been a good source of some parts among so many others. And honestly, I hate to mention names because I'm probably leaving a bunch of people out that have helped me with a few of these projects. But my 70 Enduro picked up actually at that Turin snowmobile show a couple years ago. And it's in pretty rough shape. And I like to have a little fun. There was an internet photo floating around of a mini bike on a mailbox post, and it seemed to get a lot of attention. Half the people love it. Half the people hate it. The other half aren't sure what to make of it, although they know they wouldn't leave a mini bike sitting on the end of their driveway because apparently it would be stolen. And that's pretty sad. But I like to joke that I'm going to take this bike and put it on a mailbox post. And so I haven't done it, obviously, but without any further ado, here's my Rupp Enduro.
Here we have the 1971 Rupp Enduro. kind of a hard luck story. Needs a lot of attention. Definitely some good parts to work with. Going to need new rims. Missing the ID tag. Not sure if it's the original tank, or I should say the proper tank. Obviously the purple showing through. Missing the jack shaft. Rear sprocket a little worn, but perhaps usable. Shock definitely seen better days. Has the majority of the exhaust. Looks like it's a little dented up in there. (1971) Rupp Enduro.
So I know a lot of guys are going to correct me because it's not a 1971 at all. It's a 1970. And after I recorded that, I had a few people set me straight on that. So that bike there, again, I sourced a lot of parts for that one. And it too needs an engine. So I've been kind of in the gathering stages. It had been my intention to have more engines rebuilt. I was fortunate to come to know through the internet Mark Detro, and a lot of you know that he was absolutely the best builder out there. There might be other builders out there that do a fine job, but as far as I'm concerned, he knew these engines inside and out, could really look at them and identify what was, correct or not correct about them. And it was really a terrible loss when Mark passed away. So he had built an engine for me that had come out of my dad's original inventory. And a lot of you know my dad sold mini bikes in the early 70s, and we had a whole slew of brand new Tecumseh engines, the H30s, the S40s, HS50s. And growing up, it was really nothing to need an engine. And my dad would say, yeah, go ahead and grab one. So when I really got back into this about 2.5 years ago, I was really trying to decide what to do with some of my dad's inventory. And along the way, I've made a lot of friends, and I've really come full circle back to my roots. And I had been collecting old engines and whatnot. And when I started gathering up some of the things that had gone by the wayside over the last 50 years, I realized that I had 5 identical engines that had been in my dad's original inventory. And the ironic thing is, not only the identical engines, they're date coded exactly the same. And so Mark had rebuilt one of mine, and I'm going to show a little tribute video I did to him. Really thanks to him. Kind of really helped me along in getting back into the mini bike engines. And so I'm hoping that I can really dedicate some time to getting back to building engines, because I had been familiar with doing that years and years ago, but it's kind of like one of those things. It's not exactly like riding a bike. You have you remember where all the controls are, but you don't exactly ride it like you did when you were a kid. So let me roll that video.
Okay, everybody. I'd like to tell you a little story about some vintage H30 Tecumseh engines. Some of you know my dad sold mini bikes back in the early 70s, and one of the luxuries was having a bunch of engines on hand. Recently, while gathering up some parts, I found that there were 5 different engines from his original inventory still left around, all date coded the same. As I gathered up the engines, I realized that I had to absolutely have one of these rebuilt. So I started putting the various parts together with the engines that I thought they belonged to, and I came up with this particular one that I was going to send to Mark Detro for a rebuild. Mark wasted no time getting the engine all organized on his workbench. He spent painstaking hours, I'm sure, cleaning it up, checking the specs. He did a custom 4-angle valve job. You can see where the exhaust one was all pitted. He really was a master at these engines. Here's the assembled engine. Next, we'll see Mark firing the engine for the first time. Mark's attention to detail was impeccable. The engine looks absolutely better than original, in my opinion. Mark always used the water slide decals from Mini Bike Paul. Mark always posted about his builds, and when you looked at his workshop, you could have sworn it was an authorized service center for Tecumseh engines. Mark used Banker's boxes to build a shipping crate so the engine would be totally protected. Here you see the engine still sitting in that shipping crate he built. Mark, you left us way too soon. Rest in peace, my friend.
Absolutely. Rest in peace, Mark. I know I speak for a lot of your friends out in the vintage mini bike community. You were absolutely one of the best, for sure. And I refer back often to a lot of our messages because you imparted so much information to me in such a short time that it's like a resource that I really cherish. So with all these projects, I've, it started with trail horses probably, and I have to put together a video of all my trail horse bikes. And one of these days I'm going to chronicle my progress on a Whisper Jet chopper, which is extremely rare. A lot of you know that story. I'm also going to be featuring some Gilson bikes. And I'm seeing a little glitching on my video, so I do apologize for the technical difficulty. I'm not exactly sure what's going on with the internet. I have started a Gilson Mini Bikes page. It's all capitals, Gilson Mini Bikes. And if you like the Gilson bikes, I would encourage you to check out that page and join it. I have put together a little montage video of the Gilson bikes. And if you have a Gilson, there's a good chance that I have put one of your photos in this particular video. So I hope you do enjoy it. Well, I apologize about that. Again, the internet seems to be glitching a little bit. I'll try to cue that back up in another moment. But that's a particular video that I'm hoping to upload to my YouTube channel. You know, on YouTube, if you just search for Ben's Vintage Mini Bike Lovers, you'll find me there. I'd really be grateful if you could consider subscribing and sharing that. Let me give that video one more try and we'll see if we can get it to function here. Sometimes I have to reload it, so give me a minute. I'll remove it and we'll reload and see if we can get it to work. Well, folks, I don't think that's going to work. I'm not sure what's going on. We're actually having a winter storm advisory, and being off the east end of Lake Ontario, our lake effect can just kick right up. And so we've been getting some pretty decent snow. And as you saw from some of the videos, I am a vintage snowmobile lover also. So I'd like to give another shout out to, again, my friends, Mike LaPierre at the Vintage Snowmobile Lovers podcast, and also the Muscle Car podcast, the Show and Tell podcast, and also my friend Joe Abadi at the Vintage Motocross Q&A. So I'd appreciate if you would again consider following my Facebook page, Vintage Mini Bike Lovers, and also on the YouTube side of things. I'd appreciate that. I do apologize again for the technical difficulty tonight. I could have used my producer. And so, Mike, if you're listening, I don't know how you do it day in, day out, so to speak, without a hitch. But something's going on with my internet because I'm glitching quite a bit on most of the videos. So I do apologize again for that. I hope you have enjoyed the show. Please give me your comments. Don't forget, I'd like to know what you think those bikes are worth. So make sure you post up the comments when this views, and I'll be watching those anxiously. I want to wish everybody a safe and happy holiday season. Merry Christmas. And may you get to enjoy some time with your friends and family. God bless.